Okay, so you can add also textures to the materials, to the shaders. One of them is like you just create a shader node here, and let's give a color. We have a like diffuse one, and we can use a texture to manipulate different aspects of it. Let's start with our let's start with the wave texture, and we can use the wave texture to say manipulate the roughness of the reflection. You see, some parts are more reflecting, and other parts are like more less reflecting or more rough. I'm doing all the time this right click and shade smooth, and this is a way of shading objects which are especially mesh objects. We have like they have edges, and if I have this flat shading, you can see that between them there are like hard contrast or hard gradients. There is no gradient between them. So smooth shading is a way or a method of shading where you can have a more grounded approach between these mesh points, between these vertices and edges. You can see it as a calculation error or calculation artifact, and smooth shading approximates different positions on the between these vertices. Okay, so I will keep it in the smooth shading mode and have the wave texture here, and we can use the same wave texture. Of course, you know, we can play with the wave textures size and offset and detail, and also like we can distort it. But we can also use it for other things, such as the transparency, which is like the alpha value. So you see that, you know, like clearly transparent parts. You can also use it for emission. Now we have like a black emission color. It doesn't emit, so therefore we don't see. But if you start with some emission, let's say like green, we can change the strength of the emission, or we can change the color of the emission, which is in this case like because between white and not white, like the emission and not white. I think this color, if I will take this, you can just check what's coming out of the wave texture, how it looks like by just connecting the color to the surface. You can see this is like black and white. It's a way between going between black and white, and therefore if I use it here, it goes white, which is like emission, and black, there's no emission, so I get the usual diffuse base color. Let's continue with another object, and let's use another texture. So we last week checked this procedural textures, but we can also have like some image textures to use. In this case, we can use. I will just take one of my images. Let's take this one. So I have this image. It's really good. So I will put it here, and you can put an image texture around an object. So in this case, I have my this texture which looks like an eye actually. To see it better, you can see here. Like this. Yeah, it's like this. There's just a texture, just an image, and the same image gets wrapped around the object. If I connect an image on a shader node, or even like directly connecting it to the surface node, then it is not shaded. It is just like the image itself without any shading. And I can also use two nodes, texture coordinate node and converter, vector mapping, to manipulate the position of the texture of the image on the object. So here I can connect it to generated, and I can connect it to here, and now I can move it around. So I think we had this last week as well. As you can see, if I increase all the time the y value, it comes from one side and goes to the other one. And this is because my texture is marked as repeated. If I would put it as a clipped one, so it will just appear by 0, 0. Yeah, if I will move it around, then it will be followed by a black texture. We had this situation last week, therefore I'm not going too much too deep to this. But what I wanted to say is that I can use this image texture as any other textures, procedurally generated textures on my list. So I can also use it to, let's say, manipulate the emission strength, not the color but the strength, if I would have some. Let's see, yeah. It is just like the emission of the emission strength of it. And of course, if it's not enough, I can also converter math node to multiply it with a high y value to get like very strange results. This is one way to how to deal with it. But of course, I can also use it. Maybe you heard about like the normals, normal maps, displacements, bumps. These are like similar processes to make a relief-like shading situation on top of objects without using any mesh geometry. So I will put another one here and create another texture for, let's put it again a wave texture maybe, and I'm connecting this wave texture to the normal one, and you can see that it looks like a structure. So and it reacts also to my light source, which is here. So if I move my light source, let's check it a little bit. Here, I don't remember it in this group, but so you can see it here better. So although it looks like a structure is on top of it, although it is like very flat. So this is like what normal maps and also displacement maps do. I think if I will just connect it here, it will do nothing. But if I need a vector displacement between it, and use this for the mid-level, I think, to like this situation. Let's get rid of this specularity. And maybe this is also too hard. Maybe it's less. Yeah. So this is like this displacement part of appearing some kind of surface structures on it. This is this normal and displacement part, where we can also use the textures. Indeed. So I'm thinking if I skip something, for the shaders. Transparent shader I missed, but it is the same as the alpha channel, and yeah, refraction is similar to the glass shader. For now, like for very basic, I think this is pretty enough to see. So